All right. Good morning once again. My name is Egweru Prosper, IT consultant. Yes, may I also know you briefly? Hello, sir.
Oh, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So my name is Haruna Joseph is my name.
Okay. All right. So I welcome you to this data analytics training session, starting with Python programming. So in this section, we shall be focusing on general introduction to Python programming. But before we dive into that aspect, we would like to have some foundation on what data analytics is all about. So if I may ask you, what has been your understanding regarding to the field data analytics?
Okay, data analysis is essentially, you know, getting insight or rather gathering data and getting insight from the data, you know, to be able to
Oh,
make some, decisions.
decisions.
So,
All right. All right.
the
So,
data,
only that your voice is a bit, I don't know whether it's the microphone, not really hearing you clearly. Or let's see as it goes. So, like you were trying to explain, so I actually wanted to know if you have research, if you have any idea on this program called data analytics. Uh, Officially, data analytics is the process of extracting insights and patterns from data to inform business decisions, to inform business decisions, uh, comma, solve problems or understand trends. So the key word there is inform decision making. So for an organization to be able to make informed decisions, there is need for them to hear from their data analysts who must have taken their data and reprocess it and be able to identify some trend patterns and correlation regarding to their events or their transactions. All right. So when we get to the data analytics proper, after understanding Python as a programming language, which in this case we want to apply in analyzing data, I will give a proper introduction to data analytics, where I will explain further to the various types and the kind of questions that can arise when performing any of those types of analysis. Okay, so but because of the focus, let's just quickly look at general introduction to Python. General introduction to Python. So Python is one of the main data science, data analysis tool or programming language. Python is a programming language. It's not an application like Microsoft Excel. So Python is a core programming language which can actually be applied in various aspects of technology. So one of it is the purpose why we are learning it, which is the data analytics. So let's start with the definition of Python. So what is Python? So Python is a high level interpreted programming language. Python is a high level interpreted programming language that is easy to learn. So Python is very easy to learn, and that is why in our world today, you find out that most people are beginning to deviate from the old so-called programming languages we used to hear out there, like C Sharp, C++. Though those ones still have their own core area of specialization, which if you want to go into that, you will be forced to go and learn them. When we talk about a program that is almost everywhere, in web development is there, in data analytics is there, in machine learning is there. So you find out that is one of the reasons why Python is uh, more trending compared to other programming languages. So some of the attributes that encourages us or that is actually making it to trend, we are going to find out in a moment. But I just want us to understand the definition of the programming language. I say Python is a high-level interpreted programming language that is easy to learn and fun to use. So you see, when you are learning Python, it's very fun. Uh, it means that it's very easy. You don't find it difficult to understand. Okay, so just a bit history of it. Yeah, Python was created in 1980s, just for you to have an idea of how long this program has been around. Okay, so let's quickly look at some of the key features of Python. So from here, we will now be able to deduce some of the reason why it's recommended for you and I as data analysts as one of the key programming language. So number one is easy to learn. Number one is easy to learn. So what makes Python easy to learn? Python syntax. The syntax is very simple. So what do we mean by syntax in programming? These are some terms we need to be familiar with. Every programmer, irrespective of the language you are using to program, he or she is expected to understand certain programming terminologies. So the first one we want to explain is syntax. So the word syntax in programming means the set of rules that govern the way that program is spoken. The format of writing your language or you're writing your code with any language you are using. So when we said Python syntax are very simple, what we are indirectly saying is that the format of writing Python code is very simplified, very simple for even a teenager or even anybody without prior knowledge of computer going into programming for the first time can easily understand compared to other programming languages out there. Hope you are still with me, sir.
Yes.
Okay. And I hope you are taking notes. Um, so I've just explained one of the reasons why it is said that Python is very easy to learn. It has a very simple syntax and they're making it great language for beginners. Now, the second feature, the second key attribute of Python is the high level language. Is the high level language. Now, what do we mean by high level language? Python abstracts away many low level details allowing you as a programmer to focus on the logic of your program. So when you are programming, there are logic. There is no programming that does not understand what is called logic or that does not go through logic, because the logic is just like the secret behind the program you are developing. So there are certain structures that you must have put in place behind the scene that the users of the app that you develop are not actually seeing, because even if they are privileged to see it, it's going to appear too logical. So in every program, there is a logic, and that is why before you start programming an app, you need to first of all sit down and map it out, which is called drawing the flow charts, the algorithm. So all this falls under the logical. So when we say that Python has taken away some of the low level, remember those days we were taught that there are various computer languages. We have the low level language, we have the machine language, we have the high level language. And all these things translated to different converters. That is for you to interpret the low level, the high level language to the low level language that or the machine language that the computer understands. You need a converter. That is where we have a program like compiler, if you remember, Fortran and the rest of them. But what we are saying is that for you to know the generation of Python, Python is not in the low level language. So most of those things that you will have engaged in just because you are using a low level language, Python has abstracted them out of it. So what you now focus on is the logic. So that is one of the reasons why it's very easy. So people are not engaged in all aspects of it. So they just focus on the logical aspect of the program. And then the Python takes care of the low level techniques, which makes those old programming languages difficult. Then the next key feature of Python is object oriented. Object oriented. So Python supports encapsulation, inheritance, and making it a great language for large projects. Now, just to summarize the entire concept around the OOPS or the OOPS, which is called the object-oriented programming languages that we have out there. Of course, Python happens to be one of them. Is that when programming started, it used to be very difficult to capture a lot of details of, let's say, an object. Let's take, for example, this is a carton of a Wi-Fi. Now, in those days, for you to be able to program this, you have to acknowledge all the properties. You have to create different variables to hold all the content, all the various features on this object. And that makes programming or programs of those days very slow compared to the ones we have today, because then the cache, which is the inbuilt memory of every programming language, will be too engaged because you are storing too many things inside. But today, being an object-oriented language, the whole of that object can now be captured in one variable. So that once you call that object, then it brings out all the properties. So instead of you acknowledging all the features within that object by creating different variables. So when we say object-oriented, in other words, these are programming languages that understand that perception. Now, another key feature of Python, which is going to be the last one before we go to the next topic, is extensive library. Extensive library. So, what do we mean by extensive library? So, one of the key reasons why Python stands out there is because of the availability of different packages that can be plugged into different aspects of technology. For example, when we say extensive library, let's understand the word library in programming simply means the collection of functions. In other words, where some written functions have been, stored for you to what to exploit. So what we actually use majorly to analyze data with Python is its libraries. That is why we are not learning Python like someone who wants to use it to build applications. Though they also have some libraries these days that they also incorporate, but they still involved in writing massive manual code. Unlike us, the data analyst, all we need to know is to have a foundation, a background of it, and also understand the functions that will be used to speak to your data through those libraries. So Python has a vast collection of libraries and frameworks, which we are going to talk about in a moment. Frameworks that makes it suitable for web development, data analysis, machine learning, and even more. So for web development, we use Python also, but through a framework. So a framework is like a platform that is prepared, pre-built for you as a programmer to flow with. So framework does not mean that you are writing your code from scratch. It's just like a prepared interface for you to execute. And there's a reason why the concept of framework came into existence. Those days, programming was very difficult. That is why, let's say 20 to 30 years ago, people were scared in entering what? Programming. And then we only have few programmers. And they are the ones that actually make the money. Because in the whole states, you can count the number of programmers. Why? Because it was very difficult and there were no frameworks. Frameworks were not there for them. So frameworks today, frameworks are introduced as a way of taking some of the struggle out from a developer. But a developer must learn those platforms before he or she can successfully execute them. A developer must understand the language that was used or is used to build those frameworks. For example, a framework that is built based on Python, you can't go there and expect that you'll be good at it when you do not understand the Python itself as a programming language. I hope I'm still making sense, sir. If you are still following.
Yes, you're making sense. So, in other words, so what you are saying is, so in this course, we are not writing code. Um, so we are doing something related to um, a little bit of what we next in next year. Is that correct?
No, you are not absolutely correct. When I say we are going to be accessing the code or the most of the function through library, I'm not saying you are not going to write code. You're going to write serious code. But the only thing is that these are code that has been pre-written and stored within a container called library. These are codes that have been recognized within that framework. For example, Excel that you use, when you type some function, that is SUM, some function, were you the one that developed it?
No, it's already there. It's not
But
programmed there.
did you write the code? Did you type the function before you were able to use it?
You need to know the function now and type it.
You said?
I said yes, you need to know the function first before you can
Good.
type it.
Exactly. That has even answered it. You need to know the function before typing it. That was exactly the example I was giving you. You need to know the language. That's the reason why we are learning Python. Because if it is absolutely, let's say we are not involving writing the code, or we don't need to understand how the codes are written, then there is no need of you learning the language. Because you are going to use a framework that communicates with Python, then you need to know how to write Python code. So this code you are writing, they have been formally initiated within that framework. That is why when you write it and run it, then it works for you. So we are writing code, please. We are writing code, but we are using a framework. That is what I am saying. Now, okay, so that settles the key features of Python. Now, the next thing we want to look at is setting up an IDE. That is the next topic, setting up an IDE. So what is an IDE in programming generally? What is an IDE? So an IDE means integrated development environment. Integrated development environment. Integrated development environment. So every programmer needs an environment to write and execute his or her code. So when you are learning programming, once you understand the language, once you have identified the language you want to use, the next thing to learn is the IDE. You need to have an idea of which of the IDE do you want to use to write your code. Because without having an IDE, you cannot virtually write any code. You can't speak any of these programming languages without going through an IDE. So as the name implies, integrated development environment, it is an application or a software application that provides a comprehensive environment for writing, debugging, and testing codes. To see the key function of an IDE, why you need IDE as a programmer. One, I said for writing, it provides you an environment. That is the key word there. And what is that environment for? For writing, for debugging. Debugging simply means of uh, the art of troubleshooting your code when it has put error and fixing it. That is debugging. So every programmer must have that skill set. So as you learn programming, you are also learning debugging. It is that debugging aspect of programming that actually makes you a critical thinker. Because one of the direct benefits of programming is that it expands your creativity. It expands, it increases your problem solving ability. So you cannot be a professional programmer and you are not problem solving oriented person, because this is one thing that programming must have taught you. There is no level of professionalism you can be that you write code from scratch till probably getting the application working the way you want it without experiencing any form of challenges. because even if your code is 100% right, there are times the application itself can default. There are times even the device itself, the computer you are using or the phone, can also default. So there will always be a time for you to always check if you have issue, what could have been the cause of this issue. Okay, let me try this option, try that option until it works out. That is one of the attributes of a programmer. So one of the purpose of installing IDE is because we need an environment that can help us to write our code. Depending on the language you want to speak. So when you are selecting IDE, you need to first of all acknowledge the language you want to use and find out if that IDE has an extension within that application, have that program extension. We are going to know what extension is as we go into the installation. So IDE provides us an environment for writing code, debugging our code, and testing our codes. Every programmer writes with a goal. That is why they say that the computer itself is a goal-oriented object, which means that somebody who do not have targets on what he or she wants to achieve should not even think of using computer. Every computer user is expected to have a goal. What exactly do I want to achieve? Even if it's 3 hours you want to work with the system, you need to have set out your goals. So now, it typically includes some features. What are some of the features within the IDE? What are some of the features? In other words, once you install it as an app, what and what does it come with that you are benefiting from? Number one, code editor. So under the feature of IDE, number one is what? Code editor. Let's say IDE features. Number one, I say what? Code editor. Number two, we have compiler or interpreter. We have compiler or interpreter. Then we also have within the IDE, we have debugger. Debugger. We also have the project explorer. Project explorer. We have project explorer. And then, of course, we have version control integration. Version control integration. So all these are features that are embedded within your IDEs. Almost every IDE that we have out there, if it falls within the advanced IDE, because we have basic IDE, which should not be considered at this point. So if you are using any of the advanced IDE, definitely those IDE by making has already come with what? All these features. So it is now left for you as a programmer to know how to exploit this feature within it. So when we say the code editor, we are actually talking about an interface that allows you to write your code, just like Microsoft Word, that gives us a page for writing. So there is also an aspect of an IDE that allow your cursor to be active so that you can write your code. Then the compiler or the interpreter is the one that is taking care of the execution of your code. The one, remember I talked about taking away the Python abstract away the low level details and allowing a programmer to focus on the logic. So every code you write, it interprets it. In other words, it recognizes it, initialize it, so that you can move on. Then you can explore your projects. You can, call out your projects. The IDE also have that capability. The version control, it also helps. It also has control over what different versions. So what are the IDE, the popular IDE recommended, popular IDE recommended for Python coding? What are the popular IDE recommended for Python coding? Number one, we have Visual Studio Code. We have Visual Studio Code. Just give me a second. So number one, we have a Visual Studio Code. We have Visual Studio Code. Also known as VS Code. So most time you can see it as VS Code, Visual Studio Code, or VS Code. So this is one of the most used IDE, either for Python programming and other programming languages. But when we come back to focus on it, I'm going to, in fact, let me highlight some of the reason why it's more popular. One, is very light in weight. It's not the kind of IDE you will install in your system and then your system will start, being very slow. No, it's a very light IDE. And again, it has a lot of programming languages extensions. So many. And even though the language you want to use, like the Python you want to use, its extension is not always automatically configured in Visual Studio Code because Python has its own dedicated, most used IDE called PyCharm. But for one reason or the other, some programmer, because PyCharm appears a kind of heavier than VS Code and is more a kind of more complicated, the management, the setup. So a lot of programmers or maybe beginners programmer runs from that passion, but that is the best as far as I know. That is the best IDE for learning Python. If you are learning Python for application development, but for us as data analysts, we have our own prescribed IDE, the one that helps us to be flexible with the nature of our work. They also have a PyCharm, like I mentioned before now. We have a PyCharm as one of the IDE as well. PyCharm. So you can practice Python, you can learn Python with any of this. Then we have Eclipse. We have Eclipse. We also have a Sublime Text. So we have so many of them. We have Atom. We have Atom. There are actually so many IDEs. So you can choose any one of them. But for this program, we have our own IDE, which we are going to learn. And the IDE we are focusing on is, and we are going to use Jupyter Notebook as our framework, and we are going to install it through Anaconda. So that will take us to the installation of Anaconda so that we can access a development environment like the Jupyter Notebook. Are you with me, sir? Hello, are you still here?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
okay. All right. So now let's quickly look at an IDE installation. So, but we are going to reframe it as Python IDE for data science and analysis. Python IDE for data science and analysis. So we are using we are going to install a package called Anaconda. So Anaconda is a popular distribution of Python. Anaconda is a popular distribution of Python and R programming languages. A popular distribution of Python and R programming languages for data science. For data science, comma, machine learning. For data science.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Okay, I said Anaconda is a popular distribution of Python. Anaconda is a popular distribution of Python and R programming languages and R programming languages and R programming languages. Are you with me? And R programming languages. For data science, for data science, for data science, for data science, machine learning, and scientific computing. For data science, machine learning, and scientific computing. Have you taken that?
Yes, please.
Okay. So now let's look at, so what I'm actually explaining now are like the softwares that we need to install. Just that we want to set up an environment for us to be able to use Python as a programming language to analyze our data. So these are part of things you must understand. As somebody who wants to use Python, you must understand that there is a package called Anaconda. So the Anaconda is just like, when I say package, it means that it has some content. It's just like one software that you install and then gives you access to other applications. And one of those applications we are looking for through Anaconda is the Jupyter Notebook. Because the Jupyter Notebook is going to replace PyCharm. The Jupyter Notebook is going to replace Visual Studio Code. So the Jupyter Notebook is going to act as the framework, as the IDE, as the data analysis environment or dashboard, where you will bring all data aspects or components in one place, such as the libraries you are going to use, or the live code you are going to write, your comments, and the data objects just in one place before you can identify or draw meaningful insights that can help in decision making. So that's the first thing you must set up. So let's also look at the Jupyter Notebook because because this is actually the main reason why we are installing the Anaconda. So what is the Jupyter Notebook? So Jupyter Notebook allows users to compile. It allows users to compile all aspects of a data project in one place, making it easier to show the entire process of a project to your intended audience. Everything coming together in one place. So that is actually the essence of what the Jupyter Notebook that we want to get through the Anaconda. So let's quickly go into the installation of the package called Anaconda. So how do we install it? I have already installed mine, and then I think I would advise that you share your screen so that I can use your own to guide you through. Or what do you think? Or should I just run through it? You take time to install it later. Hello, sir.
Yes, because I'm not using, except I have to, I'm not using my laptop.
Your laptop. Okay, so just take note of the steps. So number one, you make sure that you are on the internet and then you open up your browser. So it could be Chrome, it could be Firefox. Just make sure that you have an updated browser. Now, once you open your browser, then you type on the Google search box, download Anaconda, download. Once you type download Anaconda, Anaconda for Windows, it will prompt you an interface like this. Now, I will advise you to avoid malicious, want to say something?
No.
Okay. Okay. So I will advise you to avoid contacting virus through the download process. You go with a reliable source. For example, now I've confirmed this source. This source is good. Subtony is good. I've downloaded several times from here. And then this is your own direct website, which I believe that should be more reliable. So you click on it, and then it will take you to another environment like this. Okay, so from here, you are supposed to sign in. That is, if you want to install it based on cloud, because the one I'm going to use is the offline, the one I will download the package and install it on my personal PC. But if you don't want to run it directly from your PC, you can as well install it in cloud. So which means that you create an account, you sign in, and then they will give you a customized cloud workspace where you can load in your data and do exactly what a local user will do. So the advantage of that cloud installation is that anywhere you are, even within your phone, you can always watch, even on different laptops compared to the offline. So that is where you go in here to sign in. But if you want to just download for local installation, you click on download Anaconda. Okay, so there is I believe you are familiar with Zoom. There's a reaction button in case you have questions. Okay, are you with me?
Yeah, I mean, so we should just use the download, right? For now.
For now, whether you should do what?
I said we should download for now, right?
No. You can't in as much you are using. Yeah, for now use a free download. But I don't know because your voice is a kind. I don't know the speaker. Not really hearing you clearly. But if I could get you right, what you are saying, whether for now, what you have to do for now is to write down your steps. So before the next meeting, you must have executed all that I'm doing. I don't know if that's your question.
Uh,
I will.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, I'm with you, sir.
Yes. So what I'm saying is, I think for now, I will download to my local system.
Yes, good. Yes, download your local system. Then maybe later you can create an account with them, depending on you, so that anywhere you are, any computer you access, you can have a kind of an online workspace. All right. So now, once you click on that download,
Oh,
so this is where.
so
Okay.
yeah, go ahead. I'm with you now. Yeah, I think you can go ahead. I'm with you.
Okay. All right. So just give me. All right. So we are still on the steps on how to install the Anaconda as our IDE for data science or data analysis. So once you get to this environment, if you click on get started, it's going to prompt you an interface for you to enter an email. Then it means that they will send the download link to your email. That is just for their internet marketing, sorry, email marketing, so that you can get updates regard to maybe new version or thereabout. But if you don't want them to capture your email, you will just click on skip registration, and that will allow you to have access to it. I hope you understand that, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now
All
once
right,
you
sir.
skip, now once you skip, then you have different versions depending on the device you are using. If you are using Windows computer, you have a version for Windows, you have for Mac, you have for Linux. Then if you are using a mini Anaconda, so these are like lesser one depending on the device you are using. But if you are installing on your PC, then you click here direct, use this distribution installer. Once you click on it, that is going to start your download. Then you will notice that your download will have started. Thank you for downloading. You cannot find it here. Just click on these three dots and then go to download. Go to download. And then from there, you'll be able to view uh, the activity of your downloads. Right now, you can see that download is going on. But I'm going to stop it because, like I told you, I have already downloaded and installed. So I'll pause it. Now, once you have completed it, how do you now access the downloaded file so that you can proceed with the installation? Then you click on your file or your window file explorer, this folder. Once you click, it will open up your system, and then from here you navigate to download. Then from download, you should be able to see it here. You can see because I interrupted it, that is why it's showing all confirmed. Once you allow the process to complete, you are going to see this type of icon, and then it will show the software. Let me see if I still have any copy that are installed in the past here. I'll just show you how it look like if I don't have it. But definitely once the download is complete, okay, thank God I have it. So something like this. So it's going to come with the two Windows architecture. I believe you understand what I mean by Windows architecture. So every Microsoft window has two architecture. So when you want to install your system, you know whether it's 32 bits or 64 bits. So it means that it is two in one each time you download it. The 86 represents the 32 compatibility or compatible version, and then the 64 is the 64 bits. So this is how you have it. Then you just double click on it for the installation, or you right click and select open. So let's wait. I just want you to observe the process to an extent before I exit, since I have already installed.
So I'll click next, right?
Yes, you click next. Does it mean that it has opened from your end for you to know that it's next?
Yes, yes. So the next one is agree.
Okay.
So I'll do it, right?
So you click on next. In fact, everything you click on next and you are not turning on, just hold on. Let me show you, because there's a place where you can make mistake that will lead to you reinstalling. Just hold on. At least I should be able to access. Good. So once you have this, you click here and then you click on agree. Now, once it gets to this place, please stay on just me. This one is for maybe network installation, maybe like company that purchase the license that want to install it, a single one in their server that will be accessed by different branches, that the one that will go with this. And then let's say you go with this. I just want to see if I can show you this. Then here you leave it by default. The app will have selected the right directory where it's to be installed into, which is type C. But peradventure, you are not seeing Anaconda 3 as the last URL. That is when you know that you are offline. If what you are saying by default is not defining this, maybe another name, like maybe another file name, so you know that you are not in the right place. So what you do is that you click on browse and ensure that you select drive C. And then this is where it's giving us updates on the amount of space it requires. It's just what? 5.2 gigabytes space, and then the space available. So always make sure that you check the available space to know if yes, of the light. Don't need it for anything. All right. So like I was saying, you click on next once you have ensured your directory. Good. This is exactly where I want to explain. Where I want to explain. Now, if you look at this, uh, it has already selected create shortcuts. Don't go and add on any of these options, please. You can see that add Anaconda to my path environment. So it's going to install it automatically, not uh, you activating it. So you can just click on install, and then it will take a while depending on your system speed, so that you don't get worried. If your system memory is not up to 8 gigs, I'm talking about RAM, that is the best standard for you to run this application, because it's actually coming with a lot of programs, over 200 plus applications for different areas, including data analytics, are installed or can come with the program. That is why it will take time. It will install some and also give you directory for installing others later on within itself. So once you get here, just click on install and wait until uh, the next or here is showing finish. Once you can see finish instead of install or next, then you click on that finish. Then you make sure that the interface goes off before it will start the program automatically. Is that clear? Let me find out if my explanation is clear before I exit, because I've already installed.
Yes, it's clear, it's clear.
All right, so I'll just exit. Okay, now Once you have installed it, let's look at how you can start it so that we can look at how to set up our development environment. So how do we start it? Now, you are going to see an icon of it here. That is if you have pinned it. In my own case, I peg it here. And let me quickly show you how I did that. So what I did is that after the installation, let me remove it from here so that I'll show you how I was able to bring it here as a shortcut. So after the installation process is completed, so you can now click on Start. As usual, that is how you access program. And then you go to All Program if it's not, if it doesn't display among those prioritized, often used programs. So from here, you see a folder called what? Anaconda. Open it up, and then you see the package. Now, for you to program each shortcut here, just right click on it and go to more. And then you select what? Pin to taskbar. So that is how I pegged it here. So that I don't have to go through all that process each time I want to launch it. So now that you have pinned it here, how do you now access it? Just a click, a single click. Then it also takes time based on your system speed to open so that you don't continue clicking, because if you continue clicking, it means it's going to open multiple copies. So once you have clicked once, just hold on, wait for it to surely come. It will start by displaying an icon. After some time, it will open up the interface. So let's give it some time. So you can see that once you see an icon like this, you know that it's actually coming up. Keep waiting. All right. So as you can see, so this is how it will open. This is how it will open. Now, because you are not actually running the pro version, you are running the community version. So the community version is the one that is free. So what you will do, and since you did not purchase it, just click on what? No, remind me later, not yet, just to exit that message. Now, remember what brought us here? The reason why we are installing Anaconda is for two reasons. One is to offer us a service. So we are seeing Anaconda as a server that will give us an experience as if we are on the internet, even when we are running it locally. So it comes with a server that funds all these applications that are within it. So all these are different packages, different apps, depending on the reason why you are installing it. For in our own case, the reason why we are installing Anaconda is because of this package, Jupyter Notebook, that will actually offer us a development environment, a development environment. Okay, so that is our own reason. And if you look at the brief description of the visual, the Jupyter Notebook, you will see that is exactly what I defined it before. That it's a web-based interactive computing notebook environment that allow you to edit and run human readable docs while describing data analysis. So once you click on it, or in case you get this kind of message, trying to remind you, or probably uh, you have a repository like GitHub and you want to connect it to it. That is when you go with this. Then just say no because you are running it what locally. Then you click on launch. So what this will do is to give us that development environment where we can write our code. I hope you are still following, sir. So this also takes some time. It's going to open in a browser. So you give it some time. All right. So as you can see, so this is how it opens. It opens in a browser. So the first thing we need to understand is how to manage the directory, how to manage Jupyter Notebook directory. Now remember that we want to set up a development environment. In other words, a single workspace that can act as a dashboard, that can act as a means of bringing all the data objects, everything in one place for communication purpose. So now the first thing we are going to do, we are going to create a new notebook. But mind you, all these you are seeing, they are different directories. They are storage. They are different directories that you can create your notebook in. But for professional purpose, I'm not going to just create my notebook in any of these storages or directly. I would like to have my project in a folder so that in case I want to continue my analysis or my practice in a different system, all I need is just copy that folder. And then all I need is to install Anaconda in that other system. And then I will be able to what? To continue my work. So I will minimize first and go to desktop and create a folder. So let me name that folder Saturday only. Saturday only data analysis training. So once you have created a folder, in a real sense, when we start analyzing data, all the data we want to analyze through the notebook we want to create must be located here. So for now, since we are still learning pure Python, I don't want to bother myself adding data. So I will just go back to that directory and then click on new to create a new notebook. But before that, we need to reference that folder so that we'll be sure that the notebook is going into that folder. So that folder was created on desktop. So you double click on desktop and then you will notice that the directory is now showing that you are in the Jupyter server root and then you are in an object inside it. Now, of course, we should be able to see that folder that I created now. So let's look for it Saturday only. data analysis training. Okay, so this is so you also double click to ensure that you are in. So the folder is empty. So once you are sure that you are in your project folder, now you can click on new and select Python 3 because we are setting up a development environment for speaking Python. So in some cases, once you select it, it will automatically redirect you and open the notebook. But where it doesn't, you double click on it and then it will open a different interface. So this is your development environment. You can see that your cursor is blinking, which means that now you can start your coding. So, but before that, remember that you now have the home in case you want to create another notebook, and then you have the new notebook development environment. I hope it's clear, sir, before I proceed. Is that clear?
Yeah, it's
All
clear.
right.
So what
So
we are saying, sorry. So that means for each project, you have to create a folder for each
perfect,
and a new notebook
perfect.
for each project. Okay.
No. What you do is that what I would advise you so that you don't have too many project folder, just create one folder like this and call it projects. Then inside it, you can now create those other as in the main project. You can now say, okay, maybe project for a particular company. You want to analyze data for, you can use their name. All those folders will be inside this main folder. So that once you call that folder in here, all you'll be doing is that once you come here and you are in the main folder, you can now open that particular project folder. Then before you add the notebook inside it. Is that clear, sir?
Sorry, please, check it again. So
Okay.
what,
So what
what we
what?
are saying is just
Okay.
have one, then inside those folder, I have different.
Folder
Is that correct?
representing different. Yeah, representing different. What we are saying is just like this. So let's say this one is the main. Let's say this one is the main
Yeah,
folder.
the main.
The main folder. Then inside this main folder, maybe this one is your project one. Are you getting me? Why you are still
Yes.
inside this project two? Why you are still inside this project three? Now, this is like a particular company you are analyzing data for. So all their data comes in here. Now, when you want to analyze their data, once you enter from the directory, once you enter this main folder, you go in here and then all their details will be there. Is that clear? Is
Yeah.
that clear
So
now?
so um yeah. Sorry. Well, the question is clear up to this point. Can you hear me?
Mhm. Yeah, I'm with you. I hear you.
So what
Go
I've said
ahead.
is this now. Uh, so now the folder that should is the different companies. So each of those different companies will have a new notebook or
As, as, yes, they will, they will. Once you are in their respective folder, you add notebook because it is that notebook that we are using to analyze their data
so that is for each project
in
one
notebook,
different notebook.
different notebooks. Yes, depending on
Okay,
the
okay,
different. They
that's
can give you multiple data.
that,
Okay, all right,
that,
all right, all right, all right.
please,
So
sorry.
this okay.
I have a request to make, please. I don't need to waste your time. I need to pick up something. I want to do. So probably if you can get me like 10 or 15 minutes, great.
Okay. What you are saying is that you want us to close by 8 or to 8.
No, 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 no. we can continue. I just want to pick up something around probably um, 7, between 7:45
Okay.
so by probably to 8. Yeah, that's good. Maybe 10 to 15 minutes at least, but please.
Okay. So like 7:45, I can stop, right?
Yes. So you're just doing 12 minutes at the back in the class.
Okay. Okay. I understand what you mean. All right. There's no problem.
I cannot, if I
Okay.
if I go out, I will not be concentrating. I won't understand what you're saying.
Okay. No problem. Once it is 7:45, let me know that I can.
Once it's the time, once it's the time, I'll let you know. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay. So now that we understand the concept, now the next thing is for us to give our notebook a name, a descriptive name for that matter. Because if I am going to analyze different data for the same company, I would like to use different notebook to analyze their different data. Okay, or I use one notebook. I will just use comment to explain where the first data analysis and the possible observation, the recommendation I must have derived are noted. And then I will indicate a headline starting the new data. Now, for that reason, your notebook should have a name. Right now, it's showing untitled. So the first thing we want to learn is how do I give it a descriptive name? Just click on where you have untitled. Once you tap it, it will prompt you a dialog box like this. Now, this dialog box has an extension, like this box here has an extension. You can see that what you have here is highlighted, but here is not highlighted, which means that you have no business what tampering with this. This is only telling you that the file you are about to create is a Python notebook file format. That's the extension. So you just clear this section and then add your descriptive name. For example, I would say pure Python, or let's say learning. Always, whenever you are creating or you are using two words in Python in particular, please always make sure that you separate the two words with underscore or you mesh them. Python does not tolerate empty space between two words. Please take note of that. That's why I'm using underscore. And then let's say learning. Sorry, my learning is correct. Learning Python. So this notebook is for learning Python. So I'll click on rename. Once you do that, you will notice that the name has changed. And then the next time you go back to your directory, you see that what it now has a descriptive name. So that is the first thing. So what we have been able to do so far now, we have been able to set up a development environment. Now we can start learning Python properly. Now we can start learning Python. Any question before I go into that aspect? Any question so
No.
far?
I see. Is it still, are you still recording it? Because I would like to have it to go to you.
Yes. All the classes will be recorded and be uploaded to our official YouTube page. So the link will be sent to you at the end of each class. Then whenever you have time, you can go there and continue. All right.
Oh,
All right. So now the first thing I want to teach us is comments. Comments. So that is what I'll be using to explain my topics as I proceed. Now, what is comments in programming generally? Comments are just narration which are used to explain codes to either yourself or to the third party. Comments are non-executable codes or statements within a program. In other words, the language, the program does not bother executing the comments. The comments are just there to explain. That's the first thing I want to show you. Now, how do we create comments in this development environment, Jupyter Notebook, which is acting as our IDE? To simply do that, just hold down the shift button. There is a shift button on your keyboard. Hold it down and press letter 3. Then you're going to get this icon. So whatever you write after you have activated this hash will be treated as comments in Python. Even if you are using PyCharm, maybe what I will do in the next class, I'm going to teach you with PyCharm so that you can also get used to it, because I know I also have it installed. I know I have it installed. Yeah, I have it installed. So in the next class, I am going to use it since we are still learning pure Python, so that in case you probably go for an interview and they mandate you to use it, you can use it. So this same comment, the way I am activating it here, the same way you activate it across board. Now, what exactly we are talking about is what? Comment. So you can see I'm using it to explain what I am teaching you right now, not for the program or the language to execute. Comment in programming. So I don't want to limit it to only Python. It's a general thing. Comment in programming. So like I said, comments are just what? To explain. They are used to explain code, nothing more than that, just for code explanation. So that is the first thing I want us to understand. And then before we proceed with the core language itself, I would like us to understand how to manage the notebook. The notebook requires some managerial skills. Just like anybody who uses Microsoft will start by understanding the interface where he or she can access what. So that is one thing I want to quickly explain. The IDE, the Jupyter Notebook interface. What are the things you need to know once you have set it up like this? Okay, so number one is the one I've done, which is what? You should know how to rename your notebook, which I have already practicalized. So the first one is what? Renaming the notebook, which we have already done. Then the next one is how to execute your code. How do you run your code to see the outcome of what you have programmed? So the next one is how to execute your code. Now, once you write a code, for example, you want to tell Python to print, let's say Python print. This is one of the functions which we are going to understand later. Print a string, welcome to data analytics master class. So if I want to tell Python to display this, in other words, this is a live code. This is executable code. For all these ones, they are non-executable code. They are just comments, probably for you or for the third party. So you have directly said to Python that don't bother yourself, as running this code, but you can run this code. So how do I run it? Now I want you to take note of this square bracket here. So this square bracket is what indicates whether the code in this cell has been executed before. And the way Python will notify you is when it reads a value here. If you read a number, 1, 2, 3, once you have a number inside this square bracket, it is an evidence that the code in this particular cell has been executed. So how do you execute it? You can click on this, or you go to run, and then when you go to run, you can select run selected cell, which means that if you have, maybe you highlight some cells, maybe you have written code in like 2 or 3 cells or 100 cells, and you want to execute only code in some specific cells. So you select them. I'm going to show you how you can do that. And then you use this option. You have run selected cell and insert new row or cell below, which means that once you run this, it will give you another box with the intention of, oh, you want to continue writing after you have executed the first line of code, or just execute it. I will tell you, I will manually add another row. So depending on you. For the shortcut of all of them all is you clicking here. And the shortcuts, the keys you have to press or combine in your keyboards are Shift plus Enter. So if you click here now, you see that what? I have executed the code in this cell, and the program has outputted what I asked it to print. And then there's now a value read in the square bracket. Are you following, sir?
Yes, please.
All right. So now, like I was saying, now the next thing we want to learn is how to add more cells. Let's assume that, after executing this particular one, write the program or the app give us just one. Let's say you want to add like 5, and then come back and start writing code in those 5 cells. How do you manually add? In case you run it and it does not give you additional cell, how do you add? That is the next skill you need to have as somebody who uses this IDE. So to how to add or insert new cell. So how do we do that? Now, to do that, all you need to do is to select one of these. You see this square bracket, just click on it, not inside. Once you select it like this, then you press letter B. Once it's selected, just press letter B. As you are pressing letter B, you see that what? It keeps what? Adding more cells. So that is how you can add more cells. Now, another way you can add more cells is by using, okay.
Sorry. Yeah. So can you, okay, if I add more cells now, hello, can you hear me?
I'm with you.
Can you hear? Okay, now what means adding more cells you have not executed the one you already added?
Okay, if I may guess you well, you are saying that if you want to add more cells in between the ones you have executed, is that what you are saying?
What I'm saying is now is this. I am in, I have not executed the cell I am currently in. Now
Okay.
I'm asking, is it for me to add more cells while I have not executed
Yes,
the current
that is
one?
yes, that is exactly what I did here. This is not the one, I didn't select this one. This I click on this one that shows that we have not executed any code in it. So I can click on this one, just select it, then press your letter B to add. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yeah. But um, can I can I like now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Can I jump this cell and go and write a code on this last
Yes,
one? Will it
yes,
run?
you can. Yes, you can run. Yes, let's try it now. Let's say I have a S equals to, sorry, 10, and then I say print. print S. Look at this. If I run it, it can work. Is that clear?
Yes, yes. Yes.
Okay. So now that is how to add cells. So I wanted to show you another way if you feel that selecting here and pressing letter B is not convenient. Now there are some program icon here, function. If you hover on this, you see insert cell above. If you hover on this, you see insert cell below. So these ones are important where, like now, you have written code in between two cells. Let's say I have a print. Let's say I have print. I have print. Hello, hello world here, and then I have executed it. Now I want to bring in a cell in between this and this. So in that case, if I am here, then I will use what? Insert above. Insert above so that I can come in between. If I am here, I will use what? Insert below. I hope that point is clear. So, but at the same time, you can just be in a cell and just what? Click here, use it to add, or use the other method. Now, the next thing I want us to understand as part of the skill you need to have for managing Jupyter Notebook is how to delete cell, how to delete cell. So for any reason, maybe you have excess cells and you want to delete some, or you want to delete one. So how do you do it? Now to do it, if you want to delete one only, you can click inside that one and then click on this delete icon. That has automatically what? Clear it up. Okay. But if you want to now select some specific ones or some series of cells and clear them at once, you use that same method. Click here, then hold down the shift key while you select those ones. Select the ones you want to delete. Once you select the first one, hold down the shift button and then tap the one you want to delete, and then you now press your delete, or you go to click here, you see this option that says what? Cut. That will delete everything at once. So that is another skill you need to have. And then another skill you need to have is how you can zoom. How to zoom. How to zoom. How to zoom the notebook. How to zoom the notebook. So how do you increase it? Because for some reason, somebody can say that I'm not seeing what you are writing. How do you zoom it? You can press Control button once you are on any of the cells and hit the plus sign on your keyboard. See, that can zoom in. And then while you are still holding that the Control button, you can press the Control button and the minus sign, and that can shrink. Or you click on this zoom icon here. From the zoom icon, and then you can see the minus sign. You can click here to zoom in, and then here to zoom out. Okay, so these are some shortcuts and options on how, in case you do some settings, you can reset by clicking here. So another thing I want us to understand is you will notice that, let me add a new cell. So I click here, I press letter B. Now you notice that each time I open a bracket, or I want to open a bracket like print, for example, if I hold down the shift and the opening bracket, it will give me the both brackets at once, both the opening and the closing bracket. Any type of bracket I want to open, even if it's square bracket. Once I open the words, so once I open the first one, it opens the two at once. Now, I by default, once you install your notebook, it doesn't work that way. So you really want to adjust it. So how do you adjust it? That's the next thing. we want to learn. So how to, let me add it here, how to activate auto close bracket. So to do that, just go to, you don't need to be in any of the sets, just go to setting. Then from setting, you will see it active, but your own case, it will not be active, it will be like this. If you go back, you notice that what is not on. So now if you try, let's try creating that print and add the bracket, you see that what? I have just the opening bracket. The closing does not uh, come up with it. Now, it's just for you to come here and then activate this. So next time you try opening any bracket, it will give you the two at once. Hope that is clear, sir.
Yes, please.
Okay, so the next thing I want to teach us is that how you can convert comments to your notebook, because you need this, because when we start analyzing data, each time you perform analysis, you are expected to write down your observation and your recommendation where necessary. So that when you are presenting, you'll be telling me that, oh, this data that was given to analyze, after analyzing it, these are the insights that I derive. So you have to put it in writing, either in pamphlet or even here or even in Word. So let's assume that you want to convert comment to a plain text. That is the next thing we need to learn, how to convert comments to plain text or notes. So to do that, all you need to do is to use a function called markdown. So how does it work? Let's create a comment first. And then remember, if you attach the right stuff to it, it will not give you what you want. So after activating the comment sign, you space first. After that, you can write. So what we want to do, converting comments to plain text. Okay, so the first thing you are going to do, you type the comment, and then while you are in, you come to this place. What you are seeing right now is code. So once you click here, you will now see what? Markdown. Once you click on Markdown, the right top color will change. And then you hold down the Shift button and press Enter 2 times. That will now switch it to what? To plain text. Did you understand that? Adibe, you are joining with your, next time you need to join with your, because most of this I will ask you to be confirming them in the class. Did you understand that?
Please, again, just
I
one
should
more
do it
time.
again. Okay, all right. Okay, now I want to convert it back. I'll click on that cell and then come back here and click on code. So you can see that what I have switched it back to code, though it's still in comment form. Now, what I did is to write the comment line first. Make sure that there is space between the comment sign and the word itself. Then after that, you should be inside that cell, and then where you have code, click on this drop down, select what? Markdown. The text will change to what? Blue color. Once you have it in this color, then you hold down the shift button on your keyboard and press enter 2 times. Did you understand this?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so let me take it back. I want to show you another way of doing it, which is like a shortcut. So,
Sorry, can we just have a break now? Just,
okay, all right, no problem.
Sorry, I hear you.